Good morning. Welcome to the Celtic Way Morning Briefing Live. I'm Tony Haggerty, Haggerty 10. I'm joined today by Alison McConnell. How are you, Alison? You all right?
Very well, thank you. Yourself?
Yes, I'm good. Sean's taking his wee baby to get our first Jags. So he's excused from morning briefing duty. So there you go. Now, Alison, I was looking at it's the kind of midway point in the international break. There's always a lull with club football, but there's quite a lot of Celtic interest in the international break. And we'll start with saying congratulations to Japan, who have qualified for their 7th straight World Cup. And the 3 protagonists that feature for Japan regularly, Kyogo, Ryo Hatate and Maeda, they weren't involved, although Hatate travelled but was an unused sub. But at least those guys now have a wonderful incentive to keep up their club form if they want to be part of a World Cup final squad, Alison.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure it's a huge incentive to go and play well and try and cement a place in that team. I think it's a formidable achievement. I think it's not an easy qualification group to get out of. And I'm sure they'll be delighted to have qualified and to have something to work towards and just be looking forward to a World Cup.
And Gucci also has a chance to play himself into contention too. You know, that's a goal for him, isn't it? If he can force his way into Ange Postecoglou's team and then take it from there and see if he can book himself a ticket on the plane.
Of course, I think for any player, if there's a possibility of international football and definitely a possibility of going and featuring at a World Cup, I think it's a huge incentive to go and try and play consistently well, first of all for club, and then hope to get yourself into that squad, and then when you get into the squad, try and make an impression.
We also know Ange Postecoglou's thoughts because he's a former Australian national coach. He encourages the players to play at the highest level for their country, so he'll be encouraging those guys to be part of that squad, won't he? And to tell them that this is the best thing that could happen to them in their careers.
Yeah, also as well, I think it's an opportunity to push players to try and get the best out of them.
Yeah.
I think when there's a goal like that, it's something else to work towards, and it won't really be his concern. His day-to-day motivation is obviously for Celtic to get the best out of his players, but I think that there's definitely an added framework there to say, play consistently well and keep working towards specific aspects of your game, and it might deliver that goal of getting into a World Cup squad.
Too early to talk about Ibrox just now, but Daisen Maeda withdrew from the Japan squad for fitness issues, it was said. And obviously Tom Rogic withdrew because of injury, which Ange Postecoglou said was medium term. Now he'll be hoping that in the days leading up to Ibrox, those guys will prove their fitness and be able to be part of the starting 11 for Ibrox. Alison, do you read much into that, or have you thought that during the course of the season Ange's been quite coy with letting people know about injuries and timescales and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think that's been a feature of his management. I think you just know that you're not getting anywhere with those kind of questions. I think it will be a concern. I think obviously we don't know the extent of either injury, but I think it will be a concern because I think both of Rogic in particular has made a really telling contribution over the course of the entire campaign.
Well, Alison's Wi-Fi has decided to pack up again. Are you there, Alison? Have you left the building again? Such a lovely day as well, guys, wasn't it? It was all going swimmingly well. Alison's screen's frozen. Hopefully she'll come back any minute.
My apologies.
No, you're all right. Yeah, you're back. Excellent. Just saying, it's a lovely day, so it was all going swimmingly well. Yes. So where were we? Maeda and Rogic, yes. And Ibrox and timescale.
I think that both have made a fairly telling contribution over recent months, and I think Ange Postecoglou will be keen that both of them are fit enough to play a part in that game, because I think that both have made a fairly telling contribution to just how Celtic have played and are fairly pivotal to the pressing game that Celtic have played too. I think Maeda's work rate is second to none, and I think Rogic has played some of the best football of his career at Celtic this season, just in terms of recent seasons.
Indeed. Yes, Ted comes in. Most important is that no one comes back injured couldn't agree more, Ted, indeed. And Pete Weegee comes in for one for you, Alison. Feed the meter, Alison. There you go. And that's old money, feeding meters there. There you go. Now, our very own Callum McGregor and Greg Taylor played last night. Callum McGregor got 76 minutes, Greg Taylor got 66 minutes, and it was quite a feisty friendly. It was actually a decent game. Scotland were robbed, Alison, never a penalty, but we'll gloss over that. But they played okay. They've came through it unscathed so far, so Andrew will just be hoping that that's the case for the next week or so, won't he?
Yeah, I think you'll be keeping an eye on all players who are away at international duty. In terms of Scotland, I thought that the game had an edge to it, which you don't always get with a friendly. It was never a penalty for me. It just conned the referee. And I think there's a shame, I think, for Steve Clarke, just the fact that you don't have that 7-game winning streak. I think there'll be a sense of frustration that was punctured. But on the whole, I think you'd have to be fairly pleased with how Scotland performed. Kieran Tierney took his goal pretty well. It's amazing, actually, when you consider Kieran Tierney's only 24. You think, gosh, you just feel like he's a player who's been around for so long now. You think, gosh, he really has the potential to make a serious name for himself in the game. And you do just wonder about some of the links that have been that have come out in recent months, whether or not any of those come to fruition.
I was watching the game last night, Alison, because of the competitive nature of it. Every time McGregor or Taylor got the ball, I was like, get rid of it, get shot of it, because you just felt like a cruncher was coming, didn't you? Just the way it was going. It was quite it was a very upbeat friendly. Yeah,
I think there was a few challenges that went unpenalised that I think in a competitive game might not have. But I think it lent a certain edge to the game that is actually much more enjoyable to watch. And
it is,
friendly that's played out like a training game. So, I think it a decent.
It was an enjoyable spectacle, let's put it that way. Oh, Alison's gone again. Yep, she's gone again. Pity I don't have some elevator. All right, we're back in the room. Back in the room, Alison. I was going to play the elevator music there for the guys, but there you go. Now, moving on, Laila Bada scored a cracker. I don't know if you saw it.
Did for the under-21 seat.
Yeah, absolute peller and 2 each draw, and they're vying with Germany to qualify for the under-21 championships. But when he's got 14 goals, 11 assists for Celtic this season, just carrying on his club form at international level by the looks of it, and that augurs well. You just like to see a confident player doing wonderful things, and it was a cracking strike. One of those days, guys. It's one of those days. Alison's having Wi-Fi issues. Pete McGee comes back in. I spare 50 pence. Did the meter still take 50 pence, Peter? I'm not so sure. And we're back in the room. We'll see how long it goes. This one of those days, Alison, is it?
It's one of those days. I just need to apologise. Our neighbours are getting extension work done, and completely interfering with our Wi-Fi signal outside. I'm out in a wee office, and it really all sorts of problems. So I offer my sincerest apologies.
It's all right. These things happen. No, we're just talking about Abada there, and it's Israel and Germany that are vying for the qualification spot for the under-21 championships, and I think Germany can go back to the top of the group with a win over Latvia. But Laila Bada showed his quality in his class again, eh?
Yeah, it will do his confidence no harm at all, I think, to go away in international duty and contribute. And it was an excellent finish. It was a really impressive goal. And I think it caps what's been a very strong season for him. I think he'll be delighted with the return that he's had. Again, still very young. I think he's 20 now, but still very young. And you think tremendous potential in him over the next few seasons.
Yeah, and another one, Matt O'Reilly's looking forward to his under-21 Danish debut on Tuesday. I think they played Belgium, and Angie's been speaking very highly of Matt, but he's hit the ground running at Celtic, and I'm claiming an assist because it was myself that asked him the question, did he have international aspirations? And he came out and said he felt Danish because his mum was Danish and he spoke the language fluently, and then all of a sudden Morten Vikors turned up, watched him when he got his cap, so I'm claiming an assist on that one, Alison.
Of course. But it's a They have a very strong setup, I think, too, in terms of making a pathway from under 21 to senior football. So I think it's probably a sensible move for them, I think, in terms of trying to get some international.
Tim Anon comes in. Morning, folks. This international stuff is murder. Back to the Celtic. Yes, I think we all want to get back to the Celtic, Tim, but there you go. Sorry, Alison, you were in mid-flow there again, and the neighbours' Wi-Fi interrupted your own, talking about Matt O'Reilly. But we've been pleased with Matt O'Reilly's contribution so far, haven't we?
Yeah, I think he'll be delighted with the way he started his Celtic career. I think he's made another one who came in. He's been a very seamless addition to the squad. I think he came into really high-profile games at the very early stages of his Celtic career. That away game at Tynecastle, playing Rangers at home, I think he's looked very comfortable in that environment. I think he's definitely proven himself, and I think it's probably the strongest area of Celtic's team is that midfield area now.
Yes, indeed. Healthy competition for places, Alison, in that midfield area for Celtic. Now, the only downside of the international break so far is Johnny Kenny suffered what looks like a serious knee injury. 18-year-old from Sligo Rovers, signed in January for 135 grand. And it's a shame because Johnny Kenny had scored for the Celtic B team, was looking like a player, and then he got an injury setback. Now this looks like another one. They lost to England 3-1 in Walsall. And I know he's not featured for the full team squad yet, but it's not nice to see when players get injured on international duty and a youngster like Johnny Kenny trying to make inroads, Alison, into to get first team selection, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be very frustrated by it. I think we don't know the extent of it yet or how serious an injury it is, but I'm sure there'll just be a real element of frustration on his part that as he's looking to kick on and just settle into a new environment at Celtic that he's faced with a further setback.
Yeah, Martin David comes in. Alison, O'Reilly is a great player. Well, I've been impressed with him so far, and Michael Quinn comes in. O'Reilly made the right choice. And Helen Feeks comes in and says, looking forward to Celtic team being back together with no injuries, onwards and upwards. That's all you can ask for, Alison, during this international break that Celtic used up, hopefully, all their bad luck in the first international breaks of the season because they couldn't catch a break. Lots of players were out injured, but Ange will just be hoping that they get through the next few days and they can go to Ibrox with the squad that he has intact with no more injuries.
I think it's always a concern when players are on international duty. I think managers are probably always just keeping an eye on it, keeping tabs on it and hoping that everyone comes back in the same physical shape as he went out. I think too, Celtic might feel as though the break just disrupted their momentum. I felt as though in recent weeks Celtic
Alison was gaining some momentum there, and then the Wi-Fi kicked in again or kicked out again. Here's hoping she can come back. Let's see some comments. One thing I noticed last night was Ryan Christie's shooting hasn't improved. That's fair enough. Yes, indeed. And Alison, yep, looks like we've got you back. Indeed, cool. Somebody was saying that Ryan Christie's shooting hasn't improved. Watching last night, and then I was saying, wonder if a bounce game will be happening soon. Maybe Kyogo back in action. He is keeping very coy about Kyogo, isn't he? And has been all along. Lots of speculation that he will return for Ibrox, but only the manager and Kyogo know that, Alison, know the secret of that, or what's going to happen with that. Do you expect that to happen?
No, I don't. I think your best would be maybe a place on the bench, but I would doubt that after a 4-month layoff that he would walk straight back into the team. Of course, you could be wrong, but I suspect that if he is fit at all to take part, that it would be from the bench.
From the bench, yeah, I would expect that too. Now, Alison, before I let you go and give your Wi-Fi some respect, we'll say touch upon one more thing. The Celtic women's team play Hibs tomorrow at Celtic Park, and you cover a lot of women's football. It's Fran Alonso said he's really looking forward to it, and hopefully they'll get a big crowd because it's supposed to be another wonderful sunny day So that would be a good thing to go along and cheer on the girls, Alison, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think just an element of support would be welcome for them. I think it's a good opportunity for them to play at the park, and it's an opportunity for people to go along and see them, see what kind of level it's at, to see the standard of it, and go and have a look at where they are. I think that they're a bit disappointed with the league position this season, but I think some of their football has been decent. I think the game's free to season ticket holders, and it's available to buy. I think if you're at a loss, it's an opportunity to go and get your football fix.
Peter McCool comes in. Alison, Wi-Fi is hamstrung. David Gillespie comes back in and says, I'll be there tomorrow watching the girls in the sun. That's the spirit, David. Nice one. And before we go, a wee bit of housekeeping. As you can see, running along the bottom, if you like the videos and you like myself, Sean, Alison, and all the contributors to the Celtic Way, you can always subscribe. As you see, the strap along the bottom, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Why don't you take a chance and enjoy? And have a wonderful weekend and have a wonderful Friday. Alison, thanks for your contribution. I know you're up against the elements, but you always battle through, and I appreciate it. Have a nice weekend and enjoy the girls' game tomorrow, because I believe you're going along and covering it. Is that right?
Thanks, Tony. Yep, I'll be there tomorrow.
Have a good one. Take care, and I'll see you on Monday.
Take care.